Detroit. And although the McLaren team were miles ahead in the Constructors' Championship, their drivers had something to worry about. Piquet.
For construction, has been some concern among the drivers about dust and so on, making the course just a little bit slippery.
Paul Newman, a redoubtable driver in his own right, toured the pits and gave everyone a chance to wonder how Rosberg could be half the age of a film star and yet look twice as old. Maybe it was his moustache. The promising Brundle in his Tyrrell. The promising Beloff in his Tyrrell. Brundle and Beloff out of their cars for a lecture from Jackie Stewart about why Princess Anne wears a Rolex. Farby's Brabham caught fire before the race had even started. De Cesaris's Ligier hit the Armco with its throttle jammed open. De Cesaris carried his saddle back to the spare car. A beautiful day and a beautiful river and a less beautiful circuit, and once again Piquet was on the pole with Prost beside him. At the light, however, the third qualifier, Nigel Mansell, thought he saw a gap between the two front runners. There was a gap there, but it was a few inches narrower than a Lotus. The result was a major shunt. Mansell got away safely behind De Angelis and Prost, but Piquet was back where he'd started with Shearer's arrows T-boned dolefully into him. Alboretto's Ferrari wasn't doing very much either. Doomy-looking flags went out, which gave the watching world time to look at the action replay. It now became clear that Mansell had stripped a wheel off Piquet, who then hit Alboretto. Mercifully, Piquet's loose wheel didn't kill Senna. Instead, it just bounced about, reminding everybody, especially one presumes Mansell, that life is short enough already. On the restart, Piquet got away smoothly, although Prost found that Mansell was no whit abashed. Prost held Mansell off, however. Then came Alboretto's Ferrari, followed by Cheever's Alfa. De Angelis and Warwick cheap by Joule, and only then Lauda. The Williamses were even further back. On they surged in roughly that order, with Cheever showing up well, now that the Alfa, untroubled for once by consumption requirements, was delivering the power of the previous year. Winkelhock's ATS liked the look of our cameraman and came straight over to have a chat. Everyone else pushed off around the circuit. Winkelhock got out and wondered what else there was to do in Detroit at that hour. Winkelhock was to be only the first wreck of the day. Piquet led everyone safely through the chicane. But at a less tricky part of the circuit, Jonathan Palmer's punctured tyre led him into an altercation with the Armco. Piquet was still trying to get rid of Prost, who felt the same way about Mansell. Then came Warwick, dogged by Alboretto, who was haunted by Cheever. This was tight, exciting stuff, and became more so when Mansell not only got up behind Prost on lap 10, but actually got past him. Then Cheever solved his Alboretto problem. For several laps, Mansell closed on Piquet in a most interesting manner, but the Lotus's gearbox couldn't stand the excitement. Prost stopped for tyres and came straight out again. De Cesaris in the Ligier had a spin and showed a touch of his old form by clouting the wall on recovery. Mansell's Lotus came into the pits for a permanent stay, and he climbed out. Beloff's Tyrrell was in 5th place until the whole wheel went flat. It was the chicane that did it. Brundle in the other Tyrrell went past Warwick. But that had at least something to do with the Renault's old enemy, its own gearbox. Running second after yet another Prost pit stop, Alboreto was closing on Piquet, but a split intercooler finally put him out. There were only 6 cars left in the race, and one of them was Brundle's Tyrrell, which went past Angelus's Lotus into 2nd place. With not far to go, Prost unlapped himself just in time to hold Piquet up while Brundle got closer. He got very close. But not quite close enough. So Detroit was a nothing race for the McLarens, whereas the Brabhams, or one Brabham anyway, seemed to be back in business. Brundle was understandably beside himself. Piquet merely looked relieved. 4th in the championship after De Angelis wasn't a lot for Piquet, but it was something.